Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, we'll be continuing with the database part. We have already used fetch and we already learned how to insert item and select or get item, fetch item exactly from the database. Now, in this video, we'll be continuing further to update items from the database and replace items, right? So, after that, we will also learn how to delete items. We will be learning SQLite for now. After that, we will be continuing with MySQL later if needed. But SQLite is more than enough, right? So if you say SQLite tutorials and Google it, you'll be able to see SQLite tutorials. If like you are not able to understand anything, like this is not a good website. Go to tutorials point. This is much easier to understand, right? So if, for example, if you want to learn about delete query, so you can see that they have given a table and if they want to delete Alan, so they have also written code, right? So delete something, something. So yeah, I hope you got this point, right? So also if you want to learn about unions, like you want to unite two tables, like join two tables. So similarly, you can learn here. Otherwise, most of the stuff I'll be teaching in my current video. So don't worry. But yeah, anyway, if you have any doubt, comment, right? So let's get started. Let's run the application once and see how we have done so far. Let me do one thing. Let me clear all the data, right? Uh, so what I will do is I'll go here in the build folder and I'll just delete the database. It was, what was it called? Wait, I forgot. Anyway, let's just run once. And so I forgot the database name, but it should be here, right? Yeah, app database. Yeah, that was not visible right now, but yeah, we can see it's app database. Uh, Let me see the two tables. So in the first table, we have now only two things, 1 and A, right? So if I just fetch the value here, you'll be able to see. I actually deleted that file and I started new because let's just remove the existing data and work fresh, right? So now 1A is there and let's add 2B and save. And if I fetch again, you will see 1A and 2B, right? So yeah, now what we'll do is we will update. So let's add one more. So we'll say 3C and we fetch again. So 1A, 2B, 3C and one more 4 and let's say E. So if you see there is a mistake, 4 should be D conventionally. So let's fix that. So for that, close this one, not need it. So we'll set where the ID is 4, we will set the name to D, right? So for that, we need to have a update method, update. So let's implement that method in the header file in backend helper. Header file, let's add another method, Q invocable, void update item from uh, update item in database. I think, yeah, update item in database. I think that would be much more sensible. Just a minute. Yeah, let's continue. So again, this will require two things. First is the ID and second is the name. So here I will say int updated ID and or let's just give it ID because ID should be the same, right? Normally we need to change the name and the age and all the other stuff, but ID is unique and we should not change the ID, right? So keep it the same. And here we'll say QString updated underscore updated name, right? So it's more sensible that this is the updated name the of the item. Now right click here, edit factor, add definition in backend helper CVV file. Again, we will use QSQL query and here we will say query.prepare. I hope you're used to it by now, right? So we prepare and then we execute. So query.exec, run this exec command. Yeah. So very simple thing. We already know what to do, right? So prepare first, and here we will say uh, update table. The table name is called first table, right? I hope you remember. And let's see SQLite operation. So we have to while updating, you need to provide the columns. So Let's see an example here. So if I want to update the name and the age, so I'll say update company, or let's say they're updating the address. So they're saying update company. Company is the table name. So this is the table name. Now they're saying set address equals Texas. So whatever the address is, you update it with this value where the ID is 6. So the ID is 6 here and the address is South Hall, right? So replace this South Hall with this value, right? So this is how we run the update query. So if I see the SQL QSQL query example, we can see they should have an update example here. Okay, they don't. So even if they don't, like we can obviously do this, right? So we'll say update table. For update the table name is first table. Set name. I think the name was like this, right? Let's see. When we created the table, what was the column name? It was called name, right? This capital casing. So we'll say set name equals, and here I'll say colon updated name, right? And I will bind this value using this command. So let's just do this right here, right? So we'll say query dot bind value. Now wherever you find updated name, replace it with this string. We are passing this from QML, right? So whatever this string value is, we replace, right? Here this one will be replaced. So what I am telling is in the first table, set the name to be equal to this updated value, right? Now you have to add a condition. If you don't add a condition, it will update everything with this string value, right? It will update everything. I'll show that later, but for now, we need to add a condition. The condition is wherever you find that the ID, like where ID is equal to this value, right? So again, I'll say colon ID or colon underscore ID, and again I'll say query dot bind value colon underscore ID, or instead of underscore, let's just add ID, right? I think we have some conventions here. Like this is Oracle's way of adding identifier. So normally it's A to Z and 0 to 9 and stuff, right? So let's see. Uh, let's see. Yeah, so this is underscore 0 to 9 and A to Z small and capital, right? So these are available. Uh, So we can obviously add underscore. It's totally legal, but I am thinking like if by the case you forget later and you add at the rate or like hash pound or something like so instead let's keep it simple and just add ID like this. So here also I'll replace this underscore. Right, it's legal. We can do underscore, but I wanted to show you that there is limitation here, right? So just keep it simple and very simply just colon ID and wherever the ID is, replace it with this value. So what I'm saying is in my database, I have 4 rows, right? Now, wherever in every row, check if the ID is equal to this value, right? So let's say I'm telling that wherever the ID is 4, the name will be changed to D, right? If the ID is 4, change whatever the name is, change it to D. So it will say, is the ID 4? No. Is the ID 4? No. But is the ID 4? No. Here the ID is 4, yes. So the name was previously E, but replace it with this string, right? This is exactly what we are doing. Wherever the ID is 4, replace the name column with this value, the new value which you are passing, right? And finally execute the query. So let's see if this works or not. For that, we have to call this value, right? So in my main.kml file, this button is saved to DB, right? So let's add a row here, row layout, layout.alignment, q.align head center, spacing of let's say for 50, right? 50 is too much, 40. Here add the 2 buttons, and instead of alignment, forget this, add another button. And now instead of save to DB, it will be update DB, right? Update DB item or update item in DB. I think this will be much more sense. Uh, So we are getting the ID, we are getting the name, and instead of this method, we have to call our new method, which is update item in database. So we are providing the ID and the name, and we are calling the new method, right? So I'll just run this code model resetter, and yeah, let's just run the application once. Hmm. So it's building. Let's give it some time. Hope it's not very confusing. For now, just fetch, and we can see that we have four values: one, two, three, and four. So I'll say ID is four, and the new name will be D, right? Or let's just call it new name, so it's more easy to understand. Now let's click on update item. Now we did not add any logs here, right? We should have added some logs like the success thing. But for now, let's clear this and fetch from the database to see if this worked or not. And when we fetched, we see that the ID is updated. So, sorry, the name is updated. So wherever the ID is 4, the name is updated to new name, right? So let's add a success flag here. Let me copy this. And if success, we will say item updated successfully. Item updated successfully, right? So, yeah. Now let's change this new name again to D, right? Because that is exactly what we expected. Sorry. So fetch, and this time wherever the ID is 4, set the new name to D and click on update item. Item updated successfully is printed. So fetch again. Now if you see ABCD, so we have changed. Now my question to you is, if I don't add this clause, what will happen is it will update everything because we did not add any condition. So it will update every column name to, like, in every row, the this column will be updated. So if I say fetch, we can see ABCD for 1, 2, 3, 4 ID. Now this ID does not matter, right? But let's give it an ID of, let's say, 1, because ID cannot be empty. If the ID is empty, we will stop here, right? We coded it in this way that if the ID is empty, we stop. So give it some random ID, doesn't matter, right? And the name will be new all name or something, right? So now if you click on update item, item updated successfully, and if you fetch, you will see that everything is updated. Why? Because we did not add any condition. So what it will do is it will update all the columns, all the name column, right, with this new value. So that's why condition is very important. That's why we add a condition that only update this column where the ID is equal to, now this ID is in capital because while creating the database, this was in capital, right? So where ID is equal to colon ID, where we pass this thing, right? So yeah. Now my question is, if I want to update all the ID, or let's say I want to update, let me think for a bit. Let's say wherever whichever ID is even, we update that value, and the new name will be even, right? Instead of this string, it will be called even, right? So how can we do that? So we know ID is 1, 2, 3, 4 number value, right? So what we can do is where ID percentage 2 equals 0. So this means that, so here like this. I think that will be a bit more complex for you guys. Let's do one thing, right? If I provide the ID as 2, so anything which is greater than 2, we update that for now, right? Uh, so we'll see where ID is greater than colon ID. So if I provide, let me just use the whiteboard for a bit. I think it got a bit more confusing for you guys. Uh, just a, yeah, I think I can write here, right? Yeah. So let's say I have a table, and in my table I have only two rows. Sorry, only two columns: ID and name. and I have rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and A, B, C, D, E, F, right? So if in the UI part, in the UI, if I pass the ID as 4, what I want, and I pass the string as let's say str. This is my new string, right? We can also say dog. Let's add the string as dog. So I pass 4 and I pass dog. So what I want is all the ID whose value is equal to 4 or greater than 4, like 5, 6. Replace everything with dog, right? I want this. So how can I do that? What I can do is in my update query here, I'll say where ID is greater than my provided ID. So in a way, what I'm actually doing this is, so I have these many IDs, right? So I'm looping over all the rows, right? I'm looping over all the rows. So I'm saying, should I replace? So my condition is where ID is greater than 4 because I passed 4. Is 1 greater than 4? No. Is 2 greater? No. Is 3 greater? So let's add greater than equal to, or just let's add greater than, right? So is 4 greater than 4? No. Is 5 greater than 4? Yes. So replace with dog. Is 6 greater than 4? Yes. So replace with dog. So I hope you got my point. This is the replace logic because I called set method here, and this is the condition like where ID is greater than 4, right? So let's do this. Let's run the application once. So let's fetch from the DB. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything is called new all name. So what I will do is I'll pass the ID as let's say 2, and I'll say dog, right? So I'll call update item. Now, if you have guessed correctly, 3 and 4 will be updated, right? So 3 and 4 are updated because 3 is greater than 2 and 4 is also greater than 2. Now, if I pass something as let's say 0, and if I say cat, so everything will be updated because all the ID are greater than 0. So everything is updated. If I pass something very large, let's say 77, and let's say bike. So if you fetch from the DB now, you will see that nothing is updated because no ID is greater than 77, right? So this is a very large index which is not even present. So nothing happens, no updation happens. So this is all about updation, right? I hope you got my point. Now let's add delete. So if you have guessed, delete also can have a where condition, right? Where if you want to delete a certain thing, or you can delete the every row, right? If you do not set any condition, all the rows will be deleted. So we can also do that. So similarly, similar to update query, there is also delete query, right? If you see, yeah, very well, they have written this delete from table where some condition is there, right? If you do not provide the condition, it will delete every row. So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's add a method for delete. Sorry. So we'll say Q invocable delete items in database, or let's say delete items because we can delete many items, right? And then we'll pass int underscore ID. Now let me think for a bit. Or let's add two methods. Like uh, I actually wanted two methods, like one which has ID and one which does not have ID. So what we can do is we can provide a default parameter here, right? So uh, let's do that, right? Let's add a default parameter here. So by default, it's 0. So there is no ID because in our case, the ID starts always from 1, right? So 0 means delete everything. If we provide any ID, like if we provide 4, then only delete that row. Otherwise, delete everything. I hope you got my point, right? So if I do not provide any ID, delete everything. If I provide any ID, delete only that row, right? So we are doing that. So here we will say QSQL query. Very simply, just copy paste query.prepare. Here will say delete from first table. Now, no need to set anything. We only need to delete where the ID is equal to this. provided ID, right? Remove this. Now, very simply, item deleted successfully, right? But here's the catch. What if the ID is empty, right? What if we did not provide any ID? What then? So we will add a condition here. If underscore ID is greater than zero, right? Then it means we provided something, right? Like we passed four or three or two, we gave it some ID. Otherwise, if we did not give anything, or if we gave some negative number or any garbage something, right? Or if we did not provide any ID, then what happens? The default value is zero. So what we will do is we will call this thing and just remove the where clause. Now what happens is we will call the exec query, but the statements are different. Like if we provided any ID, we are adding this condition. If we did not give any ID here, so default parameter, then we just delete every row, right? So let's. I know this can be a bit confusing, but bear with me. You will understand after the example. So after this button also, let's add another button. Just copy paste. Let's say delete from DB. Now we will access this ID value here, right? In this text field, this ID text field. So we will say whenever this is clicked, we get the ID. If underscore ID is empty, it means just call this method, right? Otherwise, if the ID is not empty, then call this method but pass this ID parameter. Got my point? So if this is empty, then just call the method without anything. So default parameter. If this is not empty, then pass the parameters, right? So let's run the application once. Let me increase this. So first of all, let's fetch from the database. So we have four items, all cat, 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 right? Forget the data value for now. So if I provide the ID, let's say I provide three. So I want to delete three. So what will happen is this value is not empty. So this condition is avoided and we fall in the else part, right? We execute the else part because the ID is not empty. The ID value is three because here the string value is three. So we call this method with the parameter three. Now we call the method with the parameter 3, right? And 3 is greater than 0, correct? So 3 is greater than 0. So this if condition is executed and here we delete from the table where the ID is 3. So only one row is deleted whose ID is 3, right? And then we execute the query and item deleted successfully. So item deleted successfully. Now if I clear this and if I call the fetch from DB, you will see that the 3 ID is removed. Now what will happen is I'll just remove this 3 and I will make this empty. So currently this is empty and I call delete from DB. So what will happen is this ID is empty. So if this is empty, this part is executed. So no parameter. We did not provide any parameter. So default parameter will be executed, right? So currently this default value is 0 because in the header file we said this equals 0. So default is 0. Now since ID is 0, so this else will be executed. All the rows will be deleted. So all the rows will be deleted. So item deleted successfully. Now let's print. So I'm clicking on fetch, but you will see that nothing is being printed, right? If I just close this again and click on fetch, so just click on delete and fetch. So if you see nothing is printed because there is no row present in the database, right? Because we deleted everything. So I hope you got my delete point. Not very confusing, like uh, okay, a little bit tough, but I hope you got the point, right? So, yeah. Anyway, if you have guessed this ID is unique, right? So if this is unique, make this primary key. Now, what is primary key? Every table must have a unique column, right? To make the search easier. So, for example, let's say I have a table with 100 items, right? This is ID. Name, age. Oh my God, my handwriting is bad today. Name, age. So there are 100 rows. 1, 2, dot, 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 30, dot, 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 99, 100, right? So 100 rows. Now, if you want to search only row number 75, will you loop over it like one? Is this 75? No. Is this 75? No. Is this 75? No. You need binary search, right? Binary search. So for that, this has to be unique. Primary key is unique, right? So for indexing, this is very basic example which I, oh my God, this is very basic example which I provided, right? So how do I close this? Yeah. So this primary key is unique. So that's why the ID should be primary key. Now, what is the benefit of using the ID as primary key? Let me show you what is the benefit, right? So currently, if you see, if I just fetch from DB, nothing is printed because it's empty. So let's add some values. Let's add 1 and ABC. ABC, save to DB. 2, DEF. 3, XYZ. And 4, PQRS. And last one, 5. Let's say JKL, right? So clear this and print. Let's print. So these are all the items. Now, if you think about it, by mistake, I add the ID 3 and this time I say MNOP, right? So, but if you see 3 is already present, so what will happen is if I do not set this as primary key, what will happen is it will add another row with the ID 3 and the value as whatever I just told, right? So let's see. Let's first fetch from the DB. So you can see there are 5 items. Now, if I say 3 and then I say dog, and click on save to DB. Now, if I fetch from DB, you will see, first of all, there is no proper ordering, right? This is not ordered properly. Second thing, you will see there are two rows whose ID is 3, this one and this one. Now, normally ID has to be unique, right? ID should not duplicate. So that's why we should make this primary key to make it unique. Now, the second benefit of setting this as primary key is, first of all, let's just delete from DB and let's now both the IDs whose value is 3 will be deleted, right? If you see both the ID 3 is deleted. So add again. So 3 was, I forgot, what was 3? MNO. Yeah. Now if you see 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, forget the ordering, but 3 is present, right? Once. Now if I say 3, if I replace it with cat, right? Now if I set it to primary key, what will happen is it will not allow me to replace the ID3 like because it already exists, right? So let's quit the application and run it once more. I've set it to primary key now, the ID. So let's fetch. And now if I set 3 as cat, let's try to save. It says item saved successfully. And wow, the 3 were allowing me to duplicate it. I think the problem is I have to delete this database again because it was overwriting the old database, right? Now I think it will be created again and this time it will work properly. So let's fetch, nothing fetched. 1, let's make it very simple and fast. A, 2, B, and 3, C. Now fetch. So 1A, 2B, 3C. Now instead of 3C, I will say 3 dog. Try to save, and you will see item saved successfully. This message is not printed. If I fetch, you will see this is not printed. If I try to click on save, it will not. But if I set it to 4 and click on save, you will see item saved successfully. And if I fetch, yeah, as you can see, the problem was the database was not created again, so I had to delete it. And now I will open this new database where the ID is primary key, right? So we will delete the old database once more in a later video. when we learn about Q file info and Q file. So yeah, but to do that, just delete the database, create again, and this time it is unique. So you cannot, if I try to set a new value to 2, right? If I try to set 2 as, let's say, bat, if I click on save, nothing happens because this operation is not allowed because ID2 already exists. So what happens is when the user think that if the item already exists, just update, right? Just update this value. Like don't give me wrong message like this time I did not save. So don't do that. Save but update instead of inserting update. So how can I do this? In this save method, let's open the save item to DB method. I'll say insert or replace. So if we can insert, it will add a new row. If we cannot insert, it will update. So replace just means updating, right? So we'll say insert or replace. So let's clear and run once more. Let's fetch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's add a new 5 and let's call this B, not B, let's say G. So 5G and click on fetch. And as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's try to replace the ID 3 with the value cat. Click on save, item saved, but actually this is not saved, this is updated because you'll see the 3 will now be cat instead of C. So let's fetch. Yeah, the ordering changed. Forget about the ordering. We will fix the ordering when we run select query order by ID, something, right? We will learn that. But for now, if you see the 3 is updated, earlier it was C, now it's cat, right? So, yeah. So when you select this, just add a command order by ID. This means that this will order by ID ascending. So ASC for ascending, DESC for descending. So this will it will do this. What it will do is the ID column, it will order in ascending order, right? So you saw my issue, right? It was printing 1, 2, 5, 4, and then 3 or something, right? Jumbled order. Now this will print in proper order, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I remove this order by and just run select start, you will see jumbled order, right? Not in ascending order. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, something, right? Jumbled order. So we should use order by. Order by means just basic ordering. Now, if I say order by name, what will happen is alphabetical order A, B, then C, then D, then G. So let's see order by name. Let's click on fetch A, B, C, D, and then G, right? Coincidentally, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if I just update this two value to let's say Z, 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 something, right? Or let's say uh, tired, TIRE, tired is tired, let's say, right? Funny. So anyway, let's fetch from the database. So now you see 1, 3, 4, 5, and then 2. So ID is not the correct ordering now, but the alphabetical order is. So A, C, D, G, and T, right? So yeah. So now ordering by name. Now if I say order by name, and then we have two similar names, right? So for example, let's say we had another ID called 6 with again the value tired. Let's save to DB and let's fetch. So you'll see 1, 3, 4, 5, 2, 6. Now, okay, let's add another ID 7, and this also let's give the ID. Let's do one thing. Let's give the ID 4 also as tired. So 4 was dog. Let's call 4 also tired. Let's fetch. So now 264, right? If you see this is ordered, but this is 264. But you want this also, like if the name is also same, then order by ID. So 246 should be what I want, right? So I'll say comma ID. So first priority is name. If the name is same, then order by ID, right? First priority will be the name column. If the name column is same, then order by ID. Whichever is smaller, then order by that. So let's do this. So the name is same, and now we order by ID. If you want the ID in descending order, right? So I'll say ID descending, but here the name will be ascending, ASC. So name will be ordered ascending order, ID descending. So it will be 642, right? So we can do this also, like ordering name ascending, and if name is same, then ID descending. So let's do this. So ordering by name A, then C, then G, then T. But for the three common name, the ID is in descending order. So that was about selecting and insert or replace, update, delete, right? So this where clause is a bit tricky, but you got my point. If you want to set the name, set this. If there was another column called age, so I'll say age equals colon age, something, right? So yeah, so this is how we set the name and the age, and let's say the phone number. We will work with this, right? So anyway, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you got my lecture. It was a bit large. I mean, it was a bit long video, but uh, insert, update, delete. These are all the CRUD operations, right? And if you know the CRUD operations of a database, this is create, this is read, update, and delete. So create means insert into, right? Read means select star. Update means update from table, set something equal to where. Delete is delete from table, right? So yeah, if you know CRUD operations, you know basically all this SQL stuff. After that, we will work with projects now. Next video will be about a mini project where we save something in the database, and when you run the application once more, you actually use the database to get the value instead of like when you run the application and you change the color uh, of the rectangle, right, from blue to green, and when you quit the application and when you start again, so again it becomes blue. It does not remember like what you saved last time. So if you want to remember, we need a database. So we will do this in the next video. We will implement with projects. After that, networking is left, and after we are done with networking, we are done with everything. Then we will build full stack applications. So very close to do that. After that, I will also add more animations, as my friend Kevin told me, and all the other stuff we will learn slowly, 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 slowly. That. So anyway, thank you.